that like, hit that subscribe. Last day in Arizona, Flagstaff to be exact. I'm loving the view out here, not loving the dryness and allergies that come along with it, but it's been a good visit anyway. I want to talk a little bit about Warriors and a little bit about Niners since I have some time today and I may not get on tomorrow. So, first thing, Warriors got a win last night. Wasn't the most exciting game in the world, but it didn't have to be. They got a win, and they're still in the 7 seed, but and that's because the Rockets won last night too. So they're just a game behind the Rockets. So let's hope the Rockets lose one here soon. Warriors' next game is the Spurs. That should be another win, in my opinion. And there's a couple other teams that are kind of lying in the weeds right now that are starting to lose a little bit. Memphis and LA are both teams that are dropping a few. Still wide open. We don't know where the Niners are going to end up. The Warriors are going to end up. They could be in the 6 seed. They could be in the 7 seed. They could be in the 5 or even the 4 seed still. It's still very much up in the air, and it's going to be nothing but a dead heat till the very end, guys. I really hope so because it'll be very exciting that way. But I do hope the Warriors drag themselves out of a play-in spot and into a playoff spot. Need the Rockets to lose a couple, or at least one, for that to happen. I totally think it can. But the Warriors got to get back to playing defense. They've got to get back to shooting the ball a little bit better. Steph Curry played last night, so I think that helped quite a bit. I do think they're going to turn it around and start getting out of the funk, but they've only lost 2 games. Remember, guys, they've been on a fantastic run the last 15 games. We're at the home stretch now. There's only about 10 games left. It's going to go quickly, and who knows where we're going to end up. I'm hoping we get to at least a 6 seed, but if not, it's not the end of the world. I do think that they will drag themselves into the playoffs, whether it be in a playing game or whether it be a full-fledged playoff spot. It's just a matter of if Memphis continues to lose, if Minnesota continues to lose, if the Rockets continue to lose, just one or two will help out because the Warriors' schedule is not that daunting going forward to the end of the season. Couple of tough games at the end, but by then, hopefully, we'll know where we're at with any luck. So, Warriors, let's keep watching them. Let's hope that they can drag themselves into a playoff spot, but it's going to be close. It's exciting NBA basketball. I'm enjoying it. I we need players on the Warriors to step up. There's no doubt. If the Warriors are going to go deep in the playoffs, we need. There's an airport right behind me, so there's airplanes just flying by and landing. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's annoying to hear it every, you know, 10, 20 minutes plane landing. Anyway, we need the bench players to step up if the Warriors are going to do any damage in the playoffs at all, guys. I mean, we need Kaminga to be a better Kaminga than he is. I know a lot of people are talking about he's still young, but he's been in the league with the Warriors for I think he's on his 4th season now, and you are who you are. You can see who that guy is by that time. I know he's still young. He's got a lot of upside potential, but I just get a feeling watching him that you know he'd be a good supplemental player for this Warrior team. There's no doubt about it. But if he's asking for max money, the way he's been playing, he's just not hasn't earned it, guys. It's just not worth it. If I was the Warriors, I probably wouldn't extend him next year unless it was a fair deal. Otherwise, I'd probably let him walk because the Warriors are very close to putting a championship team on the court. Now that they have Jimmy Butler, they're only a piece or two away if they don't win it this year, which of course it's an outside shot that they win it this year. But at the same time, they are very close to putting a championship team on the court. So that means getting rid of some of the players who didn't show up this year to play the way we thought. That means Buddy Hield maybe being on the bubble and being traded. That means Kaminga maybe not getting extended if he's trying to ask for too much money, which he has not earned and does not deserve. That's like looking at other players like, is Looney going to stick around? I think maybe he will. He's not very expensive, but you got some other players in the wings that are very good that can step up and take Looney's place. So it's just a matter of looking at some of the pieces that are there. Is Moody going to be around next year? If he continues to play hard the way he's playing, I think he definitely deserves to continue to have a spot on this team into next year because you're not going to gut the entire bench. Kajimski's going to be here next year because he's Steph Curry's backup. He's got a lot of potential. I'm not sure I 100% think he's the future of the Warriors, but he's probably going to stay on the team. He deserves a spot. I think Pajemski and Moody are probably the two of the safest players in my mind. Trace Jackson Davis fell off a little bit out of the lineup, probably because of his lack of movement. His speed just isn't there for running this particular offense. I think he's a fantastic player. Maybe he will stick around, but he might be trade bait. So the offseason is going to be very exciting for the Warriors this season, guys. When it's over, there's going to be some moves to be made. No, they don't have a lot of money to go out there and spend on free agents, but there are tradable pieces and pieces that can help upgrade this team going into next year to make them a very, very dangerous team in the league. But I'm not looking past this year yet because they are really, really fantastic on defense with Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. So when those two guys are playing at a high level, and trust me, when playoffs come, they're going to be playing at another level. Steph Curry is going to be playing at another level, and the real key question is who else is coming with them to step up and play at another level in the playoffs to get this team going? It's always going to be somebody. It's always going to be somebody, right? There's always a rookie or a player that makes an impact. Last year, it was a few players, but um, not to get too deep in the woods in that, but the bottom line is the stars can't all do it themselves. They need the bench to step up and make some sort of an impact. So I just think like last year was Looney. Looney stepped up, had a fantastic playoffs, helped quite a bit. So I mean that's one example. But we need guys to start shooting. It cannot just be on Curry and Butler, although they've been able to do a lot considering they're two opposite players. You can't guard the paint and guard the three-point line successfully with those two guys. You got to pick your poison. And Jimmy Butler gets to the line an awful lot. As a matter of fact, the Warriors went from one of the teams that got to the line the fewest in the NBA to the most after Butler got here. That's not a coincidence. But there's other players that are that are stepping up along the way. But either way, they got to peak when playoffs come, and I have no doubt that that's a good possibility. Can they get past a team like, say, Denver? That's going to be a tall order. They haven't beat Denver in 7 games. But the Warriors in the playoffs in a 7 game series is a very different team than the Warriors during the regular season. So I would look for some exciting basketball out of the Warriors going into playoffs, and let's just hope they get at least the 6 seed. If they don't, they get the playing game. It's fine. I do believe they're going to win one of the two playing games because I believe they'll be at the worst the 7 seed. But even if they get to the 8 by some crazy happenstance, I think they still win one of the 2 games. That's how I feel. Let's talk a little bit about 49ers football because I haven't done that in a while. The new rumor is Brandon Ayuk is on the trading block, and I say good for good riddance. I don't think I'd ever say that before. I'd say good riddance to him, and I'll tell you why. The minute the contract came up, and he was holding out, he became a huge diva, and he didn't come out and show it on the field as well, guys. So just remember, the guy was a good wide receiver, but now he's injured. He's not going to be playing football for the 49ers until at least midseason, I'm assuming, with that injury. And on top of that, just remember when he was in there playing before he got injured, he wasn't running his routes crisply. He wasn't catching the ball. He wasn't doing some of the things that a wide receiver who gets paid top money does. And if you're telling me that it's because he stayed out of training camp, I might believe that for 1 or 2 games. But that span of poor play out of Brandon Ayuk lasted. And I just don't think it's worth it. The money's not worth it. There is going to have to be a team who's willing to take on the contract, and it's gonna be very difficult to find. I don't think the Niners get much in return, if anything. Maybe a late draft pick just to say they got something. I doubt it'll be for a player. I mean, it could be a trade where where the Niners get something like a 5th, 6th round draft pick for him, as long as whatever other team that's trading for Brandon Ayuk takes on that contract. Because really all the Niners wanna do is get out of the contract. I think if they could go back and not sign Ayuk to that contract, there's no doubt in my mind that that wouldn't have happened. And I remember when that was happening. If you followed my podcast, I remember criticizing Brandon Ayuk and the way he played these games with the 49ers and his contract. It was absolutely ridiculous. I know the Niners dragged their feet, so they're not completely innocent, not by a long shot. They definitely do negotiate contracts in a very unconventional way. Uh, if I was the Niners, I'd be signing Brock Purdy already to see how much money I got left on the table to go and get some supplemental players, considering we released a lot. They didn't that that negotiation style didn't wasn't any different with Brandon Ayuk. So if they wanted him bad enough, they should have just got the deal done right away. That being said, he handled it in a very childish and poor way. And if that was the idea of a manager or agent to try and get him more money, I mean, it worked, but it worked for him, but the results were never there for the 49ers. And I think they kind of felt knew that, which is why they dragged their feet a little bit. So it's not working out. So if anybody's out there that's willing to trade Brandon Ayuk for a fifth or better, or worse, I will say, draft pick, I think the Niners are going to jump at that and do that to get out of the contract. He's damaged goods at this point. He doesn't want to play with the Niners. It showed on the field. So yeah, I mean, anybody out there that is asking, "Hey, is this a real rumor? Is this real?" It is real. And I don't blame the 49ers for doing it. The whole time he has just been a thorn in the Niners side ever since they gave him his money, and even before that. He wasn't like that last year before last. He was a hardworking wide receiver that put in the time and effort to be a good wide receiver. And the minute that his contract came up, he became a diva, and none of that actually mattered anymore to him. And there's no room for on a Super Bowl contending team. And I'm not saying the Niners necessarily are this year, but they were last year. There's no room for a player like that on a team trying to win a Super Bowl because that guy's not going to show up for you. That's a selfish attitude and I don't like watching football teams where players are just full of players with selfish attitudes. I don't like to watch any sport like that. So, yeah, I think Brandon Ayuk probably will be gone if it's even possible. I doubt anybody out there is going to be willing to take him. Maybe I've heard maybe the Browns. Wouldn't surprise me if the Browns did, but again, the Niners won't get anything out of it. And that's okay from the Niners because what they're getting is out of a really, really bad contract with a player who doesn't want to be there and isn't going to put forth the effort to get back any quicker, I don't think. And even when he does, getting on the field and performing at a high level is probably going to be damn near impossible with a guy with an attitude like that, which is really unfortunate. But the Niners should find a trade partner for Ayuk as quickly as possible, and they should definitely sign Purdy as quickly as possible to see how much they got left in the bank, what checks they can write to who. Because now we're looking at a team that is very, very thin at the wide receiver spot. They have two good wide receivers in Parcell and Jennings. There's no doubt about it. But when you go down the list past that, it's very difficult to find a serviceable wide receiver. There's no doubt they're going to be looking for one in the draft, I believe. I wouldn't take one first round of the draft, that's for sure, first pick overall, because you need to start looking at players like offensive linemen and defensive linemen 100% first to protect Brock Purdy. Now that you're about to sign him to probably a 50 to $55 million deal, so that is something that you really can't ignore and should not at any level. So if they go for a wide receiver or quarterback with the number 11 pick, I'm going to be very, very disappointed unless they have some major plan to sign a veteran sometime before training camp. But we got a long way to go for football. Fans shouldn't panic and just remember those guys that they released, guys, and there's a few of them. They weren't producing. Even Debo wasn't producing. He may be a fan favorite. I get it. I know he is. But that's business, and you have to look at what the output on the field is. If he's not putting up numbers, then it's time to go. It just is. You got to take your emotion, your heart out of it, and look at what it is. You're a Niner fan. You're a Niner fan first, not a Debo fan first. So you want the Niners to win first. That's the bottom line. So basically, they did what was smart and what any team would do. Um, Look at the Patriots. The Patriots didn't stick to keeping all the players that they had in their Super Bowl contending time over 10 years. They moved players when the players were not valuable anymore. And that's what it is. It's a business. And you don't own players, no doubt about it, but it's a business. And if that player isn't producing on the field, guess what? You're not getting your money's worth. And it's time to move on. And that's what the Niners are doing. I respect them for doing it. I think it's a great move. And now the second piece of the puzzle is get the quarterback done, get a trade partner for Brandon Ayuk because he's a pain in the ass. And then once you've done that, you can start looking at who you're going to draft. They're probably doing that simultaneously. Who you're going to draft, right? And who you're going to try and pick up in free agency if there's anybody left. So those are the moves the Niners are going to make. I think it's smart, and we'll see where they go. They're going to be a good team this year. Their schedule is not favorable, or sorry, is very favorable. So they have one of the easier schedules this year, guys. That means that they can go through the draft, they can go through free agency, and still have a team that can compete for a playoff spot this year. Will they make the playoffs? It's going to be a lot more difficult. There's no doubt, but we don't know yet. Get closer to training camp and see what's going on there. And we might see a team that's much better than you really, really thought before. It's early. Fans shouldn't panic. The Niners are doing the right thing right now. We need to see how they finish up. I do think that by the time training camp opens, they will have made some good moves, made some good draft picks, and I think it's going to reflect on the field. I really do. But number one thing is get Purdy done now because everything else is going to be on hold until that happens, aside from the draft. So I think the sooner the better. I don't like the way they're dragging their feet with it because you're just wasting time trying to go and fill other spots. They upgraded the special teams, of course. They've got some better players there. I talked about that with Damon Bruce in my last podcast. And I agree that they addressed a need there. It's not the most immediate and most emergent need, but it is a need. Um, and we need to look for a pass rusher. Like I said, the Niners need a pass rusher really bad. Nick Bosa is a good player, but he is not playing at a Pro Bowl level. I don't know if he'll get back to that. He gets quarterback sacks, but a lot of it's in garbage time. So unless you have another pass rusher that's going to threat on both sides, Nick Bosa is going to continue to struggle because he's not living up to his contract in my opinion. Does that mean I think he's a bad player? Absolutely not. Do I think the Niners should trade him? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that uh he's not playing the way he used to play. He hasn't lived up to that hype in the last couple of years, and maybe it'll come back around, and I hope it does. I like Nick Bosa. I don't see a whole lot of production when it matters the most, and that could be for a lot of factors that I don't even know about. Maybe it is the defensive line. Maybe it is not having another pass rusher. A man can't do it all by himself. So I don't want to just knock Nick Bosa all the time. But I just don't see the production out of him right now. So hey, there's some needs there. The offensive line needs to grow. You got Dominic Parcell, great pick. You need to follow that up with another great offensive lineman draft or free agent if there's one out there, or maybe a trade. Those need to happen first. And then in the draft later on, maybe you can start addressing wide receiver. Cornerback is another issue I haven't talked about. But remember, the Niners have a lot of weapons right now, guys. They have, they still have Kittle. They still have Christian McCaffrey, arguably the best running back in the league. And I do think he's going to come back strong. There's no doubt in my mind. So the question is, do they have the weapons right now to compete? Absolutely. They got Jennings still, who is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. The guy is amazing, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. He is going to have another great year. I have no doubt about it. He's got a contract. He's working hard, and he's producing. So you've got players out there that make a difference. Kittle is a beast. If you keep giving Kittle the ball, you might not need much else. You use Kittle the way Tom Brady leaned on his tight end. How important was Gronk? Gronk was the most important tight end in the league, right? How important is Travis Kelsey in Kansas City, right? Travis Kelsey is pretty damn important. He makes an impact. He makes a difference. How important is Kittle going to be to Brock Purdy? He's going to be just as important to those as those other two tight ends. That's the bottom line, guys. That's the bottom line. So can the Niners win like that? Hell yeah, they can. Absolutely, they can, and they will, as long as they continue to grow in these other areas. Brock Purdy has to have more than 2 seconds to throw the damn football. Otherwise, no quarterback can succeed like that. Nobody. I don't care who you put back there. They're going to have a hard time succeeding if they can't look down the field for at least a second or two. So I do feel confident about the 49ers. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be a decent team. Are they Super Bowl ready? Nah, I'm not going to say that right now. I don't know. I can't say. And anybody that says that he is ready, just or they are ready, uh, really isn't a football fan or knowledgeable football analyst because you can't tell when they're not done with the finished product. The finished product will be what we see opening day. Okay. And until then, we can only talk and speculate, but they're not in a bad position. They're in a good position. They still got great players. I can smell the jet fuel. I can smell the jet fuel from these planes taking off. Wow. Um, we will know when we see those players on the field day one. Okay. And that's what really matters. Right now, we can only talk about what's going on. And like I said, they're in a very, very good position to go out there and rebuild. It's not a rebuild to build up this team and replace the players that they have lost that were not producing anyway. Just remember, they're replacing players that were not producing. All of you out there are 49er fans first. 49er fans first. Okay. You're not player fans first. You're Niner fans first. And if you're not, then you're not really a Niner fan because you want to see the Niners win. You don't want to see Brock Purdy win. You don't want to see Kittle win. You want to see the 49ers win. And if they're in 49er jerseys and winning, fantastic. If it's Aaron Rodgers instead of Brock Purdy that they go and sign and they win a Super Bowl, guess what? You're going to be a huge Aaron Rodgers fan after that because he brought the Niners another Super Bowl. And that's what it's all about. So keep that in mind as fans that at the end of the day, it's really all about the team first. And if the ownership thinks that way, and management thinks that way, and coaching thinks that way, they're going to put a far better team on the field year in and year out, Super Bowl win or not, than the teams that are just going after the flashy moves. And remember, guys, this year with the draft, it's not going to be flashy, nor does it have to be. What it has to be is good, talented players on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball with the line in general. Offensive line, defensive line. We need that. We need that bad. And I can't tell you which one I prefer more. I prefer to have a pass rusher first because those are very hard to come by. Number 11 pick, I think in my heart, I believe that should be a pass rusher, a good pass rusher. And then you go out and you get an offensive line. And then you address a wide receiver. And then you address, I believe, the corner position. So let's see what they do in the draft. We'll talk more about it. It's at Lambeau Field. Might have a correspondent there because I have a friend there that lives there. He might go to Lambeau Field and we might talk, do a little draft party. A little draft party, huh? So anyway, just stay informed with me, guys. Keep watching the podcast. We'll talk more about Warrior basketball after tomorrow. I believe tomorrow's the Spurs game, so we'll talk more tomorrow or Monday. We'll talk more Niners stuff on Monday. See where that Brandon Ayuk thing is. Never a dull moment with Brandon Ayuk for the last 2 years. I mean, I've made I've made a lot of podcasts just on Brandon Ayuk and all the stuff that's going on with him. But anyway, remember, hard work beats talent. When talent don't work, guys, I'm going to work hard for you. You keep watching, and I'll see you in the next one.